So talking about forehand, we have to talk about fundamentals and what are the parameters that I like to talk about. So the first thing is the grip. So grip, we're gonna be looking at Eastern grip or semi-Western as my ideal grips. Western I can accept, but it's too much. There's a couple of things that has to be like already when I have the player that is using a Western grip, I have to check and put him in position or put her in position to see if that Western grip can go through with taking care of certain things.
So I'm going to just show you how we can work on these things under the microscope, a little bit nearer to the player. He can hear me a little bit clearer and we can work a little bit more precisely. And particularly around the racket work. I like the way he moved, but I'll keep an eye on the way he moved, but particularly around the racket work and how the racket was more essentially was just coming over the top of the ball. If he wants great defense, we have to be able to come up and play this kind of buggy whip forehand. Get the racket above your head and crack it with lots of topspin, high and fast.
Why Iga generates so nice power during her forehand or backhand especially. One of that could be the linear path of the swing. It's not typical because typically people doing like loop swing, like taking a racket high and letting it go and going up. It's very good and very nice, but she had a problem with overextended the swing, so we decided to hold the elbow close and make it more linear, like aiming the ball, aiming the height of the ball and making the loop only by the wrist.
When I was younger, Robert Lansdorf was my coach, and he also coached Pete Sampras, Lindsay Davenport, Maria Sharapova, a lot of players who actually use this shot very effectively. I saw some pictures of myself even playing, and I use this shot. And I have a little bit of a philosophy that when you're late or you're off court running and you're driving through the ball with maximum racket speed, which you should be doing at a high level, you're kind of forced to follow through over your head. If you try to always follow through like this or not let your arm naturally go the way it really wants to go, you end up losing pace on the ball, you end up hitting short, and you have to slow down the racket speed.
I think there's two parts to the forehand, what your bottom half is doing and what your top half is doing. The top half, which everyone refers to as the unit turn, is really controlled by the shoulders and your left arm. So when we have a good turn on this, our left arm tells us how much our shoulders is turning and how far our racket is taken back. The best players in the world are taking that racket back to that right shoulder and past it with this left arm. The bottom half of your body, the hips, are being controlled by your feet. If I don't turn my right foot, my hip can only turn so far. I have to turn my right foot pointing to the side fence to have a much better hip turn. If you'll follow this technique, it's simple, it's fairly easy. You can develop the same shot. You start ready position, rackets out in front. Now this is, I want to see a semi-Western grip. That's where the first knuckle is behind the frame right there. Now, Taylor has gone further under, but I'd like to see you start this way. If you want to go under more to a full Western, you can do that. But the technique is you turn your shoulders first. Your racket's here. You turn your shoulders, that'll take the racket back for you. You don't need to take it back with your hands or your arm.
So the most important thing in the forehand is to have the correct grip. And for me, the best grip and the grip that the majority of professional players use is a semi-Western forehand grip. So there are some players out there that play with Western grips, some that play with maybe a little bit more towards Eastern. With the semi-Western grip, you can do everything. You can hit a heavy topspin forehand. You can take a first serve return over 200 kilometers an hour. You can deal with a low slice. You can create pace and you can take pace. And that's a hallmark of great technique, where you can create the power and hit winners and also defend and take the pace. So the semi-Western grip is the most important aspect of the forehand technique.